If you're still blaming other people for where your life is, that's exactly why nothing is changing. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to tell you the truth most people avoid, because facing it is uncomfortable, confronting, and exactly what finally forces growth. You've spent a long time carrying frustration. Frustration with circumstances, with timing, with people who didn't show up, with a weight on your shoulders that nobody else seems to understand. But the moment you point outward, you lose. You hand away the one thing that could actually change your life: responsibility. And I get it. Blaming the outside world feels safer. It protects your pride. It gives you a narrative that keeps you from feeling like you're falling short. But all it really does is trap you in the same place, year after year, waiting for something external to shift the direction of your life. Here's the truth. Your life won't magically get better because the world suddenly becomes fair. It gets better the moment you become honest. Honest about the habits that are hurting you. Honest about the avoidance you've justified. Honest about the discipline you abandoned. Honest about the potential you've ignored. Deep down, you've always felt a pull. A quieter, stronger version of you that knows you're meant for more. A version that doesn't panic under pressure. A version that doesn't fold when life punches back. A version that moves with direction, discipline, and purpose. But that version of you doesn't appear when you blame the world. It appears when you face yourself. Think about how many times you've said, "It's not my fault. I would do better if things were easier. I'd be further ahead if people didn't hold me back. I'll start when life calms down." That mindset is a cage, not because of the situation, but because of the story. Stories shape your reality more than circumstances ever will, and the story you've been telling yourself has kept you small, reactive, and stuck. But here's the good news. The moment you change the story, you change everything. The moment you say, "I am responsible for my discipline. I am responsible for my choices. I am responsible for where I am, and I am responsible for where I'm going next," you unlock a level of strength most people never touch. This isn't about blame. It's about ownership. It's about stepping back into the driver's seat of your own life. It's about refusing to let the world dictate who you become. And it starts right now, not tomorrow, not when things get easier, not when life finally cooperates. Let's be honest, you didn't get here by accident. Somewhere along the line, you let certain habits slip, not because you're weak, because you got used to surviving instead of improving. And survival feels safe, until the day you realize it's also the reason nothing in your life is changing. You keep saying you want a better life, a sharper mind, a stronger future. But the truth is simple. You can't upgrade your life while protecting the same excuses that are breaking it. That's the real reason this message is hitting you right now. Because there's something you've been avoiding, a conversation you haven't had with yourself, a responsibility you keep pushing into tomorrow, a standard you stopped enforcing, and you know it. Look, you're not lazy, you're not incapable, you're not behind, you're just comfortable with the familiar pain of staying the same. And that pain? It's predictable. It asks nothing from you, it demands no growth, no discipline, no discomfort. But the pain of changing yourself? That one feels unfamiliar. It feels risky. It feels like stepping into a version of you that doesn't let excuses survive. And that's exactly the version of you this part of the video is pulling you toward. Let me ask you something powerful. When did you stop telling yourself the truth? When did you decide that distractions were harmless? When did you start accepting half effort as good enough? When did you decide that you could keep drifting and somehow still arrive at a life you'd be proud of? It's not that you're blind to your potential. You see who you could be. You feel it every time you stay up at night thinking, "I know I'm meant for more than this." And you're right. You are meant for more. But meaning nothing changes until you do. Your habits shape your outcomes. Your effort shapes your momentum. Your discipline shapes your identity. And right now, your identity is standing at the crossroads between who you've been and who you're supposed to become. This is the grind, not the glamorous part, not the part anyone applauds, not the part you can post online for praise. This is the part where you face yourself, where you pick up responsibility instead of resentment, where you replace blame with ownership, where you stop waiting for permission and start building without applause. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your future is not asking for your feelings. It's asking for your action. You don't need the perfect routine. You just need to stop lying to yourself about the effort you're putting in. You don't need motivation. You need honesty. You don't need a fresh start. You need follow-through. The gap between the life you have and the life you want, it's built on small, consistent choices, made especially on the days when you don't feel ready. And here's where the bridge into part 3 begins. If you want a better life, if you want more strength, if you want more confidence, discipline, clarity, purpose, you have to earn it by becoming the person who no longer negotiates with weakness. Because part 3 isn't just the conclusion, it's the shift. It's where everything tightens, where excuses die, where accountability becomes identity. So before we go there, ask yourself one question. Are you done living at half power? Or are you still protecting the version of you that's holding everything back? You feel it, don't you? That quiet shift happening inside you right now. That moment where excuses stop sounding convincing and responsibility starts sounding like freedom. Let's start with a truth nobody ever told you clearly enough. Your life won't change because you want it to. It will change because you decide it must. Your circumstances aren't the problem. Your past isn't the problem. Other people aren't the problem. The world isn't holding you back. The only thing powerful enough to limit you is the story you keep telling yourself about why you're not farther. And deep down, you're tired of that story. You're tired of hearing yourself say, later, maybe, one day. You're tired of knowing you could be better and staying exactly the same. This isn't guilt, this is your awakening. Because here's the thing about accountability. It's not punishment. It's ownership. It's momentum. It's liberation. Once you take responsibility for your life, everything becomes possible again. You stop waiting for outside permission. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for motivation that never lasts. You start moving. And movement creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates progress. Progress creates identity. And identity creates the life you want. Let me say something you already know, but often ignore. You are not a victim of your potential. You are the author of it. You don't become disciplined by talking about change. You become disciplined by choosing it when it's easiest to avoid. You don't evolve by blaming your situation. You evolve by controlling what you can and refusing to surrender to what you can't. You don't grow by repeating the patterns that made you unhappy in the first place. You grow by breaking them, even when no one else is watching, especially when no one else is watching. And this is where everything comes full circle. In part 1, we confronted the truth you've been avoiding. In part 2, we exposed the habits and excuses that have been quietly holding you back. But part 3 is where you stop being at war with yourself and step into the version of you who leads. This is where accountability becomes identity. Not a chore, not a burden, a standard. A standard that says, I fix what's broken, I build what I want, I take ownership of everything in my control, and I refuse to live one more day blaming anything outside of me for what happens next. Because when you remove blame, you remove limits. When you remove excuses, you remove confusion. When you remove denial, you remove weakness. What's left is power. Pure, unfiltered personal power. The kind most people never tap into because they stay comfortable with their old narrative. But not you. Not anymore. You're not listening to this because you're lost. You're listening because you're ready. Ready to stop drifting. Ready to stop complaining. Ready to stop blaming. Ready to stop waiting. Ready to evolve into the person you always knew you could be. And if this message reached you today, it wasn't an accident. It was your turning point. Now step into the life you're meant to build. No more blame. No more excuses. No more half effort. From this moment on, you take command.